you know, like come out of nowhere.
I was about to say, how dope would it be if Eren explodes into his Titan form, and then like the soldiers are like, get him, and then like Levi and like Mikasa fly up and like, wow.
AoA, that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, clocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AoA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boy Isaiah.
Yo, and a yo.
And today we're here to talk about Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 4, or in total, Episode 63. This one's called From One Hand to Another. So this one was really interesting because in terms of how do I even describe this, right? Because it's like, all right, the first episode we have action-packed, right? Like across the board.
The theatrical debut.
And we don't really, and we kind of drone off of that in the next two episodes, but I feel like this episode was still even different, and I can't even describe how. But my point I was going to get to at the end of it is that it still was able to hit the same emotional beats, I would argue maybe even more so, and still make my skin crawl or my hair stand up with literally people just like walking around. Like there was this wholesome element to it, but then it injected these moments of terror, for lack of a better term, into you throughout the course of the episode. And it was really crazy. A lot of stuff to break down on this one. I'm really excited to talk about it. But listen, folks, if you like the content, if you like what it is we do, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos, sharing with your friends because the more the merrier, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion today? What did you think of this episode of Attack on Titan? And what are your thoughts on the series as a whole? And also make sure you guys are watching our reaction to this episode, which we have posted on our new channel, which is called AoA Reaction. So for anyone not in the loop, now you are. We have a separate channel for all things AoA reactions. You can check out our reaction there if you want to watch it before diving into this episode with us. But yeah, anyway, getting into the
merch.
And the merch. Yes, thank you, Isaiah. Sorry, so many plugs. Also, we have a discount code going on right now for the starting today for the entire month of January for our AoA merch. If you want to rep some sweet AoA swag, the code is AoA 2021, and that will get you 20% off all of our merch right now. All of it. That's everything. If you've really just been craving that fanny pack for the longest time now, now's your shot. You want to rep some AoA gear? Go for it. So yeah, that's AoA 2021 in the promotional code when you go to checkout. And that gets you 20% off all of AoA merch for the entire month of January, starting now, kind of like a 4K special thing for starters, and the fact that it's a new year. So, you know, congrats, hats off to you guys as well, and thank you for everything you do. But anyway, talking about the episode now that we cleared everything up. Crazy. I'm like stuck. Okay, because there's so many, you know what it is? I'm thinking of like 12 things I want to talk about at the same time. We just got to break it down one by one. All right, so I'm going to apologize in advance because I want to talk about the Tiber situation.
Sure.
And I do have to say that insofar as we just watched the episode and reacted to it, that's all we have. I didn't have time to go watch this episode 3 times before we talked about this. So I am a little confused as to who's in control of what, per se, right? And I think maybe you picked up on this better than I did, and basically my point is go easy on me here. But we meet the Willie, the head of the Tiber family. Love that his name is Willie, by the way. I just think it's hilarious because this guy's like stone cold charismatic, you know, like across the board from what we got from him. Like the guy knows his stuff, but it's like, Willie, you know what I mean? Like his name is Willie, but it's awesome. So anyway, we get introduced to him and his family. And one of the interesting things that we see right in the beginning when he's talking to Theo, the commander of the Marleyan forces and the warrior unit, is that he asks him, he goes, since you're the commander, who do you think's the Titan amongst my family? Because he's got a bunch of screaming kids. He's got like old men there. Ladies, looks like they got a maid. Who knows? You know, could be the maid for all we know, right? And Theo's like, I don't know. And he's basically like, good, you know, that you don't know. So you're thinking, okay, is it Willie? Like, you know, what's the deal with that? And I was curious because you made a comment about that, Isaiah, and you were like, you know, it's interesting that he goes into that. And I was curious to hear your thoughts on it because I thought that was something that was very interesting that he's able to hide it. The fact that he's allowed to hide it, obviously, but then we find out he's way more important than we thought, and everything that has to do with that and just the Tiber situation in general.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I thought it was interesting that so we know that the Tiber family, like, they are one of the only groups, people, whatever, that can like kind of play games with these Marlians, right? Because like they have that level of status and reputation, where like obviously if any Eldian tried to shit, it's like their head's coming off at least. So it's interesting that like I don't even know if it's anything, to be honest, if it's anything more than that, of like this reminder, so to speak, that it's like, hey, we're here. Marlians are here and everybody else is here, okay? Yeah. Like, don't, like, you can stomp around in your grounds and fuck with everybody else, and Eldians included, but once you come into this house, you need to be reminded that, like, you are here and we are here. Like, if it's anything more than just to fuck with him. But if it's not, I do think it's interesting that he doesn't want, because that's the whole thing with the warrior unit here, right? It's like the position, I mean, and we know it's like this weird warped idea or version of like an honor, but it's like a privilege, right, for an Eldian in a way, to like be selected as the next successor to one of the Titans, whether it be armor, what have you. So I find it interesting that like while a lot of the other Titan positions are like put up on this pedestal almost and like just paraded around as like, oh, that's the guy who's gonna be the next armor Titan, or that's the guy who's gonna be the next jaw Titan or whatever, that the Warhammer Titan is like, it's no loose lips. Like you don't know who it is, and you're not supposed to know, and they don't want these people to know. And I think it comes again from a standpoint, if you think about the like sort of the political game here, the power structure, the more the Tiber family has on top and can hold sort of like above the Marlians' heads, if you want to think about it like that, the more aces they have up their sleeve, I guess, the better, right? So like if the Marlians know all their cards, if they know exactly who they can go after if they need to, like that sort of levels the playing field. Where if the Tibers can keep that shit like on either, like maybe it's something that like moves around. I don't know. I actually think it is more just like it's one of them. It may not be who we think it is, but like that's the point. Is if he can't easily identify and point it out, like that's their plan. Like, look, that we're one of the most strongest, influential families and groups of people in this whole town, and we have one of the best Titans here, and you don't know who it is. So if you come after us, you don't even know who you're targeting. So it's like, again, I think there's this like political landscape and mind game that they're playing over the fact that like there's an obvious strategic thing going on. So I do think that's interesting, and I think that's going to come into play because I'm starting to think the more Titan shifters that we meet and like really start to like hear talk about their perspective and their side of this whole war and stuff, at least me personally, I could be dead wrong, I'm starting to get the sense that like a lot of the Titan shifters here are I mean, I guess for obvious reasons, like not as enthusiastic about this war and this situation. Like, the Marlians are like, whatever, we'll do whatever it takes. Bomb them 20 more times. I don't care. Send 100 more Eldians over there. And then the Eldians are like, nah, fuck them. Like, we're like just going back and forth. But both sides are like, hey, Titan shifters, that's with us. Go fuck them up. And it's like the Titan shifters they're the ones fighting, right? And it's like they're not only are they the ones fighting, because like in a sense everybody's fighting, but they're the ones that pay the most, right? They're the ones who have to bear this burden. Because even there's a conversation that Willie has with what's the general's name?
Theo.
When they're at that construction site, where he's like, I have this responsibility now thrust on me that I didn't even ask for. It just got dropped on top of me. And it's the only time in this episode that you see him break away from this persona of like the philanthropist, like, oh, I'm Willie, what do they call him? The son of our savior or something?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, there's a phrase that they refer to him as, and I think it's supposed to be like, that's the level of fame that he's held up on. Yeah. The sin of our savior or something like that. But it's the first time you see him break away from that, like, happy-go, I make speeches and make everyone fall in love with me, and he has the literal same face of like dread and despair that we've seen on Reiner, that we've seen on Aaron, like, and so it's like all these Titan shifters, dude, are just at their wits' end. They're so done and they're so beaten physically and mentally and emotionally by being a Titan shifter. And so I think it's gonna be interesting going forward, seeing what side these Titan shifters play when like shit inevitably hits the fan, because at least with the end of this episode, like shit, it's getting real close to have that happening. And I guess what I'm getting at with this whole long-winded thing is I don't think it's going to be as simple as like Titan shifters on the Marlian side and Titan shifters on Parrot. Like, I think there's going to be some in-betweens.
Yeah. And I guess my biggest question was that, so I guess, I thought it was interesting how the Tiber family seems to, at least indicated by the speech in this episode, outrank Marley in that sense. That's what really threw me off, because it was like, they played a crucial role in beating King Rhys and the whole family, that royal family, and kind of shooing him away to the island. And so it seemed like it was a weird choice that they made where it was like, okay, we do this, all of our people get subjugated, but like our family above all is even above that. So it's really, we're doing it to ourselves in this weird messed up way. I just thought that was very interesting, and I'm not fully on board still or in the loop with how that power system works. So if anyone knows like the full in and out without spoiling anything, if I'm not supposed to know, fair enough as of this point, but can clarify that in the comments, that goes a long way, just so I'm in the loop. I'll rewatch the episode again. But anyway, so yeah, we get him, charismatic as hell. Oh, he also has a lot of friends too, because you see him when he's at that banquet or whatever, basically being like, oh, so-and-so from X Nation, you've known me since I was a kid, so-and-so from Y Nation, you're awesome, we did cool things together, etc. And basically shoves aside the Marleyan, who is making a fool out of himself and his entire nation, to try and pick up the pieces and rally these people behind him. And like, he lights up a room in a second, right? They're all ready to cheer for this guy no matter what. So I'm very curious to see what his speech is next episode. And I'm assuming it's the one that we saw from the trailer, but I could be wrong. How he's just going to go ham on that and how the people are going to respond to it. So I don't know, interesting character, and I'm interested to see if he is the Warhammer Titan, if it's a sleeper that we had no clue about. It's like, it's the maid. You know what I mean? Like so crazy.
Maid Titan confirmed.
Yeah, maid Titan confirmed. Right? Like, who knows? We don't know who it is. But yeah, I'm curious to see more of that.
She's like is like a maid Titan shifter, and she like breaks out into this Titan form, but she always cleans up after the fact.
She switches from a hammer to a broom and just starts sweeping the debris away.
Because we get rowdy does not mean we can't clean up after ourselves.
Inside voices. Yeah. But no, curious to see their whole play. So let's talk about Eren, because we can circle back to a lot of things. And this all intertwines with Falco beating Gabby and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully we'll get to all that. But let's talk about Eren, because I can't hold it in anymore.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, what the hell, bro? Okay, first of all, I was saying like last episode of the one before, and just for clarification for anyone who was not in the loop, I was saying last episode something along the lines of like, I don't know how if I trust Eren. I trust Eren. Like, he still is like the protagonist, and like I understand, like I get it. Like he's not stupid. He's gonna do some things. I just meant it again in the fact that it was like, he's utilizing Falco in such a way as to be like, send my letters, do this kind of stuff, and it's just like Falco really has no clue what is happening right now, and it's like, again, Eren, I don't think is going, like, he could have really got anyone, but it was just like, oh, Eren, what are you planning? So there were so many moments of suspense in this episode when he's like, yeah, it's my family back home, if you could send this letter. And then he's talking to him about like, yeah, keep pushing forward, like do your thing. And it's really scary to see where we're going to go. And Falco is all about it. He's been reinvigorated. And now that he had Reiner on one side and Eren on the other, he's ready to beat Gabby or try his hardest so that he can steal this Armor Titan position at the last possible second to defend her in that right. And so that's crazy. And then specifically the scene where Eren's grandfather comes out, and Eren's just cold steel look as his grandfather's literally unraveling at the seams, like having an actual breakdown, and talking about that. It was insane. But Isaiah, I know you had thoughts on this one.
Yeah. So right off the bat, like, Eren ain't slick. All right. I think that Eren from frame one, right? He rolled up into this city and he was like, I got to do X, Y, and Z. And whether that is because everything he's doing is part of some long-winded scheme that like his whole unit is here and in on, and like he's got to be the one to light the flare, so to speak, or if this is kind of like he's got to be like the informant here and like the solo one and like whatever, because I think he knows who Falco is. I think he knows who Falco is linked to, and that was his whole reason for getting Falco's attention, because at the end of the episode, when Falco brings Reiner down to the basement, Falco says, hey, mister, I brought him, which means Eren specifically requested Falco to bring Reiner. You know what I mean? Which means he knows that they have he knows that he would do it. He would follow him. So I think Eren has been very meticulous in this plan here. And like I said, yeah, one of the standout scenes was obviously when his grandfather comes over and sits down and his brain explodes, for lack of a better term. And Eren, without like a shred of emotion, just kind of like stares him down and shrugs it off. And I'm like, this is a man, like, so the whole deal with him tracking down Falco specifically, to get to Reiner, the whole thing with like where he's been, the information he's been gathering, the letters he's been sending, this is a man who has steeled himself to like do some shit. And I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know what his end game is. I have a theory, of course. I could be 100% wrong. But like, this is a man who is preparing himself or has prepared himself to do the worst if necessary. And two very specific shots from the trailer come to my mind after the events of this episode. That is the scene with Willie at like doing the speech with all the flashing lights and stuff, which I do think is going to be at this festival, and I do think it's going to be the speech he makes or at the theater, so to speak. And then the shot of Aaron's Attack Titan like roaring and coming to life to be what looks like in the same city at the same time of day, which is nighttime, that Willie's making the speech. So what I think is going to happen is I was telling you this a little bit off camera, but I think that Aaron has put like a lot of his thoughts, so to speak, or whatever, his qualms to bed here. And he's called Reiner to sort of be like, let's shake hands. You say what you've got to say to me, and I'm going to say what I have to say to you, because the next time I see you, we're both going to be giant titans, and we're just going to go at it until one of us drops. And, like, this is it. I'm sick of this war. I'm sick of these sides. I'm sick of people dying. I'm sick of this endless cycle of just unnecessary death and you know, imprisonment and, like, all of it. All of it's wrong. None of this makes any sense, and none of it's right, and I'm tired of it. So, like, I don't care if I have to stomp on each and every single one of you so that there's no way that you can rebuild this. I'm done with it. And so I think that, like, that's what that scene is when, like, you see the Attack Titan, like, roaring and sort of, like, you know, transforming in the middle of the city, is I think this conversation, this altercation, something's going to happen. And in whether it's from Reiner or Falco directly, somebody is going to push Aaron to where he's backed into a corner. And like, I think that was the case here, that Aaron came here on a covert mission, so to speak, to gather intel, and perhaps that's what those letters are. He's sending information back to his squad, or maybe those are just, they're like blank letters and they're literal like signals. You know, it's like, oh, here's a progress report. Aaron, like, this is the first letter, which means Aaron's gone through the first day or whatever. But that they also sent Aaron because they were like, yo, if shit gets bad, like, we can't send like Connie, right? Because like, if shit gets bad, we can't let you get captured. So if all else fails, like, go nuts. Do whatever you got to do to get out of the city, even if it means transforming. And it's like, I think that's what we're leading into. And you were saying before at the beginning of this, that's what I love about this episode, is because even though the whole ride of this episode is very, like, you know, wholesome, and there's like a lot, it's like weirdly one of the most cheerful episodes, at least feeling that we got. But like, man, when they drop the emotional hammer, it takes a fucking chunk out of my head, because it's like the way that this setup has come, like the payoff that we're going to get next episode is going to be bar none. I, you know, haven't read the manga, don't know anything. Again, could be 100% wrong. But I think this next episode is going to be absolute fire, and probably, at least up until now, what we're on episode 4,
It'll be 5.
It'll be 5. Will be the best of the 5 episodes we've seen.
You think?
I think this is where because I think now because we had Aaron like here, let's just say, right, and Reiner here, and like Falco here, and Theo and the military here. Everybody was like in their own spots of the city, doing their own thing, talking about their plans. Now that we've had arguably 2 of the most important ones intersect, we can't, like, that's climax. We can't go past this and then go back to like doing what, like, something has to happen. Something's got to give, so to speak. And I think like it's going to be in the next episode, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm super excited myself, and I think you hit a lot of the points straight on the head, so I don't want to beat a dead horse when it comes to all that. It's going to be nuts. And again, just to reiterate, just the emotional, like the way the roller coaster, I want to say, you know, but like, I don't even think that's the right word, but just the ups and downs of this episode, I think they did really well. How about the OST in this one, huh?
I loved it.
When they're at the festival and they're eating ice cream and whatever the hell's going on, it was like the calm before the storm type thing, you know.
Yeah.
Towards the end, that OST was crazy. And then just even some of like the conversations and stuff beforehand, it was just like, everything's too cheery right now. And I really love how we see Falco and how his latent potential that he seems to have always had, but it only really gets shown when it comes to fighting for someone else and for fighting for a cause that is going to save more people. And that's how you know that we've found what it is that motivates this person. And now the sky's the limit for him.
Exactly.
Like, we know that he has some crazy potential, because before he was like, I don't really care, when he knew it was just what the circumstances were. Yeah. I found that to be very interesting, you know, when he's like, okay, now I'm going to try. If it's for Cabby's sake, if it's for, you know, I have to keep moving forward. It's for my people's sake. It's whoever.
And that it wasn't then it wasn't really so much as like Falco couldn't beat Gabby, but he didn't have a reason to, right? And now that he's been motivated, it's like, oh no, this wasn't like Gabby above the rest. This was Gabby and Falco not trying. You know what I mean? Like, and now that Falco's got some fire under his butt, so to speak, yeah, I think he's going to be a real contender.
Yeah, it's crazy. Are we missing anything else this episode?
I think it, so I get the only other thing, I guess, I mean, is just like theorizing about like where we're gonna go, what's gonna happen, because we've seen Aaron, but we haven't really seen, again, like I was saying, maybe the whole thing that he was doing has to be, that seems like a weird thing to emphasize at all if it's not gonna lead into anything, so it has to be like some kind of alluding to, maybe his team or whatever, or like allies or whatever, because the other scene, weirdly in watching this episode, a lot of shots from the trailer came to my mind. One of the other shots that comes to my mind is Aaron's Titan transforming in the water, and he's like uplifting a boat, like right off, like out of, from nowhere. And so I think, again, one of the things that we see in this episode is Reiner discussing with one of the other or I don't know what his position is, lieutenant or soldiers or whatever, about the plan to attack Paradise Island and like where they can go in from. What I think, again, just off the shots from the trailer, is I think that shot of Willie at the theater making the speech is going to happen. And then in the middle of that, or right at the end, or knowing Attack on Titan, they're just going to like build it up to where like he says the last thing and then Aaron fucking explodes out of nowhere. Because like that's going to be happening at the same time while Reiner and Aaron are having their little scaffold or whatever. And like whatever the end result is of that is going to directly flood into this happening. This city's going to go nuts and go berserk, and everybody's going to be like rushing to be like, oh fuck, it's him, it's the Attack Titan, whatever. My thing, what's interesting though, is we do also know that Zeke is here. Zeke, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is the only one who knows that Aaron has the founding Titan.
Well, I don't know, because he may have told them. Like
that.
he tells the superiors.
Right. He did say that in the So I guess that's my thing too, is like Aaron using his Titan transformation to, like, if he gets, like, let's say pinned or cornered by some soldiers or Reiner or whatever, is one thing, but then it essentially paints a huge target on his back because everybody's gonna be like, it's him, it's that one, get him. So my thing is, then I think he's going to try and escape, and whether that is like him ditching his Titan form then, because maybe his squad is like on standby outside the perimeter or whatever, and they yeet him up out of there and get him onto a boat, and then maybe that other shot of Aaron's Titan uplifting the boat is them trying to stop the assault on Paradise Island. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how much of this season is going to be like, maybe it's like back and forth, like we started here at the Marleyan headquarters here, and maybe we go to Paradise Island for a little bit, see what the hubbub is going on here, because I got to see my Queen Astoria again, what she's doing. She's going to be a badass bitch, and maybe we go back. I don't know. I'm wondering how everything else fits and falls into play. I feel like as much as I've connected dots and stuff, there's still so many loose ends and like so many pieces that I know are on the board that I don't know like where they fit. And I'm just going, like you said before, we're going to have to watch this episode again, because I definitely need to I just got to know.
Let that all soak in. Yeah, I definitely think his squad is there. That's my personal thing. I think that because we see Jean in the first episode handing out papers.
You're right. Yes.
So I think that, I don't think they'd just be like Aaron and Jean. You know what I mean? Like, pick them out of a hat, like go over there, like there's got yeah. Like what? I would
Connie.
Everybody else, take it easy. Eat some cheesecake. It's on the house. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna chill here. They do a thing. So I do think that it's like, I think it's the squad there. I just think that I think that they haven't shown all of them, because then it would just make it way too blatantly obvious. Because I could be wrong. They could not be there. But I think that's the thing, where it's like, if I saw anyone else beyond that, I'd be like, all right, they're clearly all there, right? Yeah. So I do think they're just gonna be like, like come out of nowhere.
I was about to say, how dope would it be if Aaron explodes into his Titan form, and then like the soldiers are like, get him, and then like Levi and like Mikasa fly up and like,
yeah, I think it's like some sort of, maybe an assassination attempt or some sting operation, or they're there to make a presence. It's like you remember the Dark Knight, the movie Dark Knight, when they're going, when Batman is or Bruce is like investigating the building tops, and there's the sniper, and then the Joker is like in there with with all the cops, and then all of a sudden it's like pandemonium when they're making the speech, like the mayor's making the speech. Like, I get those vibes, you know what I mean? Where it's like once Aaron's not just gonna, they got like all the Titans there chilling, because if they all wanted to, they could just be, and just hammer and just like beat his ass, you know, on sight. Because like Aaron's strong, but like let's be real, he gets mollywopped in the head with one hammer. It's like, you know.
That's true.
So I do think that they're gonna have a squad there with them. Like the squad's gonna be there, and it's gonna be like take out whatever maybe high value target, whatever. Like let's make a scene. Like let's make a statement here, because it's called Declaration of War is the next one. Yeah. So it's like who's declaring war, right? Is it Willie? Is it both of them? Is it at the same time? You know, etc. And the trailer again kind of leads me into some of these conclusions. So like maybe it's doing that on purpose to mislead me. And fair enough, you got me. But like the one part where it's like Aaron Yeager, and the guy yells it, you know what I mean? Like, and it looks like it's Willie making that speech. It's like, okay, he clearly knows what the deal is. And then Aaron just goes like, blah, you know, and like everyone's gonna come to his aid. I don't know.
Also, how many years has it been like that they've been fighting? They said 4 years, right?
So it's been 4 years since they left Paradise Island, since they failed the mission.
Since they failed the mission. Because I'm wondering, like, you think Aaron's gotten any more control over the Founding Titan abilities?
I think he's definitely gotten control over just Titan abilities in general. Again, he is somewhat limited in Founding Titan abilities, if not for being in contact with royal blood.
Right.
So he has the ability, I don't think he has the ability to wipe minds. He can't do that unless he's touching someone royal, nor do I think he has the ability to command Titans unless he's in contact with a royal.
Which we know that Zeke has.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking if Aaron ever was in a situation, and like that would depend on Aaron knowing that knowledge, I guess. But like, got in a situation where he was cornered by like the Beast Titan and like the Warhammer Titan or whatever.
Sure.
Like he does have that ace of a up his sleeve technically, where he's like he could control them all and have them all back off, but that it would require
he seems to have gotten really good with the, you know, we see it indicated at the end of the third season where he's able to just like touch someone, immediately see all the memories type thing. He's got the hardening ability down. Reiner makes it even a comment where it's like, wow, he learned that quick. So 4 years he's had his, you know, his Titan abilities for like 5, and he barely even scratched the surface until like the last year. So 4 years of him knowing like, oh, this is the potential of this. I'm assuming he's going to be like forced to be reckoned with when push comes to shove. So I don't know, man. It's going to be wild. We could speculate all day, but we're not going to know. And all I have to say is that these Sundays could not come faster. I'm actually, in a weird way, I'm actually glad that we watched this a day late on Monday, because then that gives me one less day to wait. For when the episode comes out.
This is a show where I'm actually like, I'm not crazy happy we're like covering episode to episode, because I'm like, I would honestly rather just wait like 5 weeks and just get like in a single clip, because it's just so hard when you get in this in depth and you're like, all right, let's wait a week and sit on it.
Oh, brother. Anyway, I think we've expounded enough of our thoughts on this one. It was fun. We gush a little bit, but I mean, that's what we're here for. So anyway, folks, that is our thoughts on today's episode and our predictions and theories for where the show might be going. Again, if you guys enjoyed what you see here today, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion? What did you think of this episode? What do you think of the series as a whole? What are some things that had a profound impact on you this episode? Maybe some Easter egg type things that you missed, parallels to real life, all that kind of stuff. The show is fantastic at that, obviously without spoiling anything. Be civil to everyone in the comment section. But beyond that, again, just make sure you guys are checking out our AoA reactions channel that we just made. It will be in our description, so you don't want to miss that. So you can check out our reaction to this episode and any future reactions that we will have coming out for Attack on Titan and everything else. Jujutsu Kaisen, trailers, who the hell cares? Reactions, right? Go check it out. And for anyone that wanted now to get some AoA swag, you're like, damn, Ian, I'd love to get some AoA swag. I'm just waiting for that New Year's resolution to kick in. I'm waiting for that price to come down slightly. I just need that push.
Check to come in.
Yes, the check. Here it is, right? 20% off. Use the code AOA 2021 for that New Year sale running now until the end of January. But listen, folks, until next time, we'll catch you on the flip.
Peace.
Ninjas are samurais, blaze of the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly.